Peace, manifestors. I'm so glad to be back in front of this camera. You have no idea. It has been quite a few months since I've been in front of the camera, since I've shared anything new with you all, and life has been lifing. I've moved and just started um, a new actually corporate role since the spring of 2024. um, Back into sales, back into real estate. So it's really good. I feel great about where life is headed, but alas, I cannot stay away from I can't be deterred from my dreams, right? And my dreams are to be here cultivating um, peace and self-awareness and power and prosperity within you. And helping you to find your path so that together we can do the work that we need to do in order to create the future that we ultimately seek and deserve and desire. So I am back. If you guys don't know who I am, or if this is your first time coming across one of my videos, I am Queen Mercy, and I talk about all things life, love, mind, health, body, for women, right? I help high level women and spiritual women who want to become high level manifestors, empowered central beings in their lives, awaken that Kundalini and awaken your inner power, your inner divine feminine power to master, the different tenets of your life: self, spirit, mind, money, and just in general, your love life. Because when all of those things are balanced, you really are able to manifest and create the life that you fully deserve, right? When you find balance in all of those different areas. So if you like hearing more about those topics, go ahead and click that click that subscribe button. And if you like this video and you want to hear more of these types of topics, then please hit that like button as well, because this will just help this message to get out there further and get to more and more queens. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So today's message is all about the pain. I'm usually talking about empowerment. I'm usually talking about empowering subjects, but sometimes we need to do the shadow work, right? Sometimes we need to kind of take a step back and look at the things that are holding us back. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There is dark and light in every situation. And with the absence of darkness, then one cannot know what it means to have light, right? One cannot exist without the other. There is symbiosis, there's balance, and justice in both the light and the dark. And you need the dark sometimes, right? In certain states of mind and certain states of being, especially in the world that we live in today. But this particular topic is about the power of procrastination, because I'm be honest, that's something I struggle with too. Oh my God, I cannot tell you the number of times that I have told myself, "Ooh, if I would have just done that consistently for the past 4 months, where my body would be, where my mindset would be, where my superpowers would be, where my money would be." Oh my God. So, hell, even making videos, right? Just creating content and building online platforms, right? I don't know who needs to hear this message, but you are worthy. You are distinct. You are unique. You are special. And every time you tell yourself, "Oh, I'm going to do that later," every time you put something off, a conversation, a bill, right? A message that needs to be shared, doing the work that you need to do in order to advance your life, or feel like you're at least gaining traction on your goals and you're moving yourself closer to the goalpost that you've set for yourself. Every time you procrastinate, right, you are literally, not only are you missing opportunities, but you're also, other people are missing the opportunity to interface with you and to learn more about you and find out who you are, right? So I don't care if it's paying a bill or at least talking to somebody about the damn bill. You need to have the conversations, right? I think it's Tim Ferriss, and I was on a training. I'm in sales, and so I was on a training with um, Jeremy Minor, and he mentioned the quote from Tim Ferriss, and I believe it's something to the effect, and I was just talking about this to my significant other, to my special person. I do have a special person, y'all. Life has been life, and it's been all good. It's been good. It's been lots of, I will say this, lots of ups and downs over the past 3 years. So take that for what it is, right? But life has been life, and I can't wait to come back and kind of talk. I'm going to give you guys a life update and just let you know what the heck has been going on. But I'm super excited about being back in front of this camera. Anyway, I was talking to my special person today about this quote, actually, and Jeremy Minor said it in the training that I'm in with him, and it is, I believe he said Tim Ferriss, and it was something to the effect of, the status of your life is a direct result of your comfortability with having uncomfortable conversations. I'm gonna let that sink in. I'm gonna say it one more time for the people in the back. The status of your life, where you are in life right now, is a direct correlation, a direct mirror, right? And a direct outcome of your comfortability with having uncomfortable conversations. What could he possibly have meant by that, right? Uncomfortable conversations about money, about where you are in life. Money is one of the most uncomfortable conversations to have with anyone, right? And so when you're in sales, high ticket coaching, real estate, investments, you know what I mean? Anything that requires anything more than a few $100s to a few $1,000s a month, to a few tens of $1,000s a month or a year, or $100,000 a year, or if you're in real estate like I am, and we're talking about, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars being exchanged within a few hours, then you're talking, or tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars, then you're talking about having some very uncomfortable conversations. And the more comfortable and versed you get with having these conversations, the better, right? You stand a chance of placing yourself in a room with people who are comfortable having uncomfortable conversations about, you know, money, life status, socioeconomic standing, right? The things that kind of drive forward the world that we live in today. And I don't care how spiritual you are, those conversations are conversations you have to have at some point in time in this existence, in this dimension, in this world. So really just coming to kind of talk a little bit about the pain of procrastination, right? Because how many times have you told yourself that, yeah, tomorrow's going to be the day, next year's going to be the year, next month's going to be the month, next week is going to be my week, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then how many times has that time coming on, and then on the back end, you're sitting there thinking to yourself, like, had I, the woulda, coulda, shouldas, like, if I'd have done it, just a couple months ago, can you imagine if I would recorded one video a week for the past 52 weeks, or for the past 3 weeks, or 4 weeks, or for the past 3 months, right? Where would my online community be? If I had just done that one, recorded that one music lesson or that one baking challenge or that one recipe that I wanted to record and shared it with my audience, where would my audience be? What would my followers look like? What would my income be on the course that I'm about to release? How could I possibly have bolstered my community, right? Like there's so many woulda, coulda, shouldas. I don't care really what it is that you do. If it is something, let's just talk about divine purpose here real quick, because if it is something that calls to you in your sleep, in your waking moments, in beta, alpha, theta, delta, I don't care what level of consciousness you are when it appears. If it's something that calls to you, then you definitely need to explore it. You deserve to be able to explore it, right? And it's something that is uniquely and distinctly there for you. And if it is something that is uniquely and distinctly there just for you, then no one else will ever be qualified or curious or equipped enough to do your work. You have a uniquely distinct and specific set of skills, experience, talents, understanding, right? Information, wisdom, ancestors, connection to the divine, right? Connection to God. Like you have a distinct, you are so unique and so worthy that every time you say, I'm gonna wait, right? You disempower yourself. It disempowers your dreams. It's like, and you know how we talk about everything has vibration, everything carries vibration, everything has vibrational energy, and everything has a vibrational frequency associated with it. When I think of D words, it's always typically a lower vibration, right? But when you defer your dreams and you defer your goals and you defer your work and you defer your love, who around you can look at your life and say, hey, look, hey, that's exactly what I want to do. Mercy is doing the work that I want to do. I'm inspired. She told me last year and I ain't believe her, but this year she stepped into her power and now I'm inspired, right? What is it that calls to you? What conversations with yourself? This does not have to be a conversation with someone else. This could be a conversation with you. What conversations, what needs to happen? What's not happening in your life that needs to happen in your life in order for you to step into that next highest phase? Because I'll tell you this, every time you defer yourself or you defer your dreams, right, you really are disempowering yourself. And when you're disempowering, you definitely have a hopelessness that kind of resonates, right? A hopelessness that you don't feel like there are any options because you haven't created that level of self-awareness and accountability that you need in order to say, okay, look, I need to have a strong conversation with myself right now. I need to take grace. I'm going to give myself grace. But I also need to have a real conversation right now. How the heck did I end up in this position, at this point in my life? And what am I willing to do about it? What am I prepared to do about it? What can I do? What should I do? What must I do to get myself out of whatever the situation is? right? And so I really wanted to kind of come and just talk about the pain of procrastination. And so we're understanding what that pain is, right? Deference of our dreams, of the homes, the cars, the jobs, the dream opportunities, the travel, the kids that we love and want and deserve and desire. Kids take money. No, kids take money. They take time, and your money allots you time, right? Money is a tool. Money, let's talk about money real quick. The energy of money, it is not good nor evil, right? It's the greed that follows money that we're talking about. The greed of desiring too much, right? And being willing to do anything to get there. So money is just, it is a neutral tool, right? It just carries the weight and the energy of that which is held it, right? What it's held within. If it's a negative capacity, if it was earned through death or robbery or something like that, of course it's going to have a negative vibration associated with it, right? You're going to need to clean that money and to put that into a position where, it works in your behalf, right? Where it's clean. And it's no longer carrying that negative vibration, and so it might need to go through some exchanging or some cleansing process. You might need to do some type of meditation or prayer over it, etc. But really what we're talking about is not just the energy of money, but like also your intention, right? Also your intention. And so how do we overcome? So I have some notes here because of some stuff that I just really didn't want to forget. How do we overcome this level of analysis paralysis? How do we overcome, as overachievers, as high achieving women, as spiritual people, whatever it is that you consider yourself to be? There can be a certain level of analysis paralysis, right? I have so many dreams, I don't even know where to start. But one of the things that we can do to really overcome, so I would say get yourself a good coach, right? Somebody who's been to the places and accomplished the things that you want to accomplish in your life. Definitely work with somebody, or at least create a sounding board, create a vision board, list out all of your things, and then go with the first thing, right? The lowest hanging fruit. What's the easiest to accomplish? What's the first thing that I can do to start taking steps towards my dreams, right? And in the midst of that, how do I overcome, right, the inefficacy of procrastinating? How do I become a productive individual, right? Make a plan, right? Create a plan of action, have a strategy, have a vision, right? Create some self-awareness. You can use the tools such as meditation, envisioning meditation, nature walks, right? To really kind of get in touch with who you are and what you want to do, and just kind of take in the elements and get back in touch with. You can have a not an envisioning meditation, but also you can have a trauma healing meditation, right? Where you kind of bring forth repressed memories from your childhood. That is definitely an option. I would definitely say do that when you're in a good state of mind and have someone near you who can help you to kind of overcome and talk you through the more difficult things that you might unrepress, right? That might present itself to you as a child. But then also using that mindfulness to find clarity, right? To uncover what it is that you feel like you're passionate about, or what your purpose is and your power is. A good coach can really help you with that process. But also understanding your why. Why is it that you do the things that you do every single day, such as procrastinating? Why do you procrastinate? What is it, right? Because what's the first step in AA or any type of anonymous situation, right? Any type of anonymous healing or therapy groups, right? Is acceptance, and also agreeing, right? Agreeing and accepting that you have this problem. So, I tend to procrastinate. Why do I tend to procrastinate, right? Because of fear. Is it fear of being made fun of, or fear of other people? And I hope that's not it, because other people typically suck and none of them are working towards their dreams, so how could they judge, right? But overall, whatever, definitely that's one of them. But fear of failure, right? Even fear of success. Again, this was something I was talking to my special person about earlier, was that, that fear of success can really keep you feeling like in bondage, like it's excruciating, like you're scared to put yourself out there. And so, definitely understanding the why behind the reasons that you do certain things, and then shifting that why to a positive. Like, okay, if my fear is of success, then what could it possibly look like on the other side of that fear? What does my life look like when I accept success, accept that I'm worthy of success, accept that I have my own version of success, and I see what it looks like for me? And what does my life look, feel, smell like, taste like, all of that on the other end of this? And hell, I want to experience that, right? That way, at least if I decide to go back to not being successful, I can say, hey, I've accomplished this for myself, and that's not for me. Most people ain't never gonna say that, but definitely understand, right? Putting yourself in the mindset and really using all of your senses to really understand what that could look like for you on the other side. And then definitely, thirdly, is taking action, right? Being inspired to take action. So even if you're the type of person like, oh, I don't need the whole woo woo breath work and mindfulness, meditation, manifestation, law of attraction, I don't believe in none of that. I don't believe in, the spiritual tools and principles that are available. I don't believe in astrology, numerology, human design, none of that. None of that moves me. I would challenge you to think about, then, if you're that type of person, what is the opportunity cost of the thing that you're giving up? Right? What is the opportunity cost of the thing that you're not doing? Who is it so what is it that you're not doing, right? Who is it that is most impacted and affected by it? Not just you, but the others around you. And how are their lives, typically negatively, impacted by your lack of action? For example, my procrastination is around building my online community. Not building it, but relaunching my online community and doing the work to curate, courses and all of that. The things that I have I have hundreds of documents with pages worth of notes and educational material and experiences and blogs and so many things that I've written and done and created that I simply haven't published to the world, right? And it could be vulnerable moment. It could be out of fear of my own success. I think that's absolutely what it is, right? Or even fear of failure, like, who am I to right? But I can't live in cognitive dissonance. I can't tell you to do one thing and I'm living another way, right? Like, I literally have to lead by example, and that's just where I am in my life. I've come to that conclusion, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being uncomfortable. I'm a private person, and I typically don't like very many other people. Right? When people just do silly things, and it's okay. It's okay to be who you are, quirky and standoffish and whatever. It's really okay to be all of those things, but still say, okay, there's work that needs to be done, and no one else is just as qualified. No one else is distinctly qualified for the type of work that I see myself doing other than me, right? Because God put this vision in my mind for a reason. So, who's most affected by that? Not just me and my livelihood, right? But now I have a whole daughter, right, to live for. I have things that I see us accomplishing together, things that I want to see her. I want her to see me accomplishing so that she's inspired and she knows that mommy did the work to pave the way, right? And just really, there's so much there, but there's no way that I'm going to allow fear to remove the roof out, the security out from underneath my daughter, right? To take the roof out over from over her head, or take food out of her mouth, or, you know, remove her sense of security and well-being and safety, right? There's no way. That's it. I'm done. Right? Like, literally, if somebody tells me like, oh yeah, you could lose your home or da da da, you know. And so to know that I can't even allow myself to get there is just like, that's empowering enough, right? And any mom or any parent can definitely relate, I'm sure. uh, Excuse me. So that's really what you know, I focus on. What That's my opportunity cost. My opportunity cost is not giving my daughter the life that she deserves. My opportunity cost is not having her see me walk across that stage, right, in that intimate setting, in that room full of women who's paid hundreds of thousands of dollars, or hundreds of dollars, or thousands of dollars per plate to come and sit here and see me speak, so that we can have this mindfulness, this beautiful intimate ceremony where we completely shift the energy of the world, and we shift our lives, and we step into our dream lives, and all of the things that I dream of and I see for myself and my business, right? An independent ecosystem, self-sustaining ecosystem and eco community in Costa Rica, right? Like, just so many different things that I see for myself. There's no way I would be remiss if I went to my deathbed and didn't accomplish my dreams. Right? That's much scarier than stepping out into the forefront and saying, okay, I can be consistent with this. I can go on video. I can talk to people. I can speak to anyone about anything, right? And find a way to pull them into whatever it is that I'm offering, and see if there's a way for me to help them accomplish their next goal, right? Because that's the work that I'm placed here to do. To disseminate information and to help others heal, right? And so I know uniquely and distinctly that is the work that I'm placed here to do. So just think of the opportunity cost, even if none of the spiritual tools kind of align with your vision and your energy and how you live your life now. Definitely still, you know, tapping into those things that kind of push you forward. And a lot of that could be the opportunity cost of who's going to be affected if you don't do the work that you are meant here to do, that you're placed here to do, that you were meant to do, right? Whose life is affected outside of your own, and how does your lack of action, how does your procrastination affect their life, typically negatively, and what are you prepared, willing, capable, and able to do about it, to come on the other side of your procrastination, right? To emerge from the other side of your fear, to emerge from the other side of the pain of the situations that you've placed yourself into, to emerge from the other side of your perception of your current reality, victorious over all of those disempowering feelings, fear, you know, scarcity, hopelessness, despair, deference, right? Disempowerment. How will your life and the lives of those most closely connected to you appear in a more positive light once you dedicate yourself to, once you accept your role, right? Accept your bounty, accept your claim, and then say, hey, look, I know that this is what I'm meant to do. I know that I'm placed here uniquely and divinely for something great, and I'm willing, ready, able, and capable to do the work. And now that I'm on the other side of feeling disempowered, despair, and all of that about those things that I need to do, and I'm actively in the process of doing the work, and I'm actively doing the work, and now that I'm on the other side of that, and I'm starting to see the results of that come to fruition in my life, how will your life look on the other side of things? And that is how you move past the pain of being a procrastinator, the pain of procrastination. So I am going to hop on this beautiful sales challenge that Jeremy Miner is having. I have another webinar to hop on, but I hope that these words have given you guys a little bit of, just an idea of what it means to procrastinate, how it could be affecting you in ways that you're not even seeing and feeling. And even if you are, especially if you are seeing it and feeling it, what are you prepared to do about it, right? Accept accountability and move past it, and really push past it and look at your life from the positive and see if, and say to yourself, hey, look, if I were to actually do this work, what would that look like for me? And how would that positively impact me? And I'm going to leave you guys with that. This has been beautiful. I'm glad to be back. I'm so excited. I'm going to share a life update story as well, because life has definitely been lifing, but it's a beautiful feeling, and I'm glad to be here, glad to be back on this camera, and I love you guys, and I'll see you soon.